Coming at you live from my home studio in beautiful La Puente, California. This is the All Dodgers podcast. What is going on, party people? We are back. We are still ready to drink because we were just on vacation. We were out camping, but we're here now, and we got a lot to talk about for your Dodgers, or with your Los Angeles Dodgers. On today's show, we talk about the latest from the injured list. A whole bunch of moves dropped today. We got Monday overreactions, which means voicemails. I have an overreaction. The first ever 3-up, 3-down all up edition is going to happen today. We got a whole lot more. I got some questions, Mariners series preview, all that and more on another edition of All Dodgers Live. First, my name is Clint Bussey. If you guys don't know who I am, that's who I am. Find me as Real FRG on the social media machine. I am a longtime baseball writer, sports editor. I've been doing podcast stuff like this on YouTube for way too long, and I'm doing it here now on my own channel. So consider subscribing to the channel. That really helps things out. Give the video a thumbs up if you appreciate Freddie Freeman playing through a fractured finger. Give the video a thumbs up if you appreciate Max Muncy being back in the lineup. Our first look at Tommy Edman in Dodger Blue. A whole bunch of stuff going on today. Let's go. Let's dive into these comments. You guys are going off in the comments. First one I see right here off the top, Bob Nightingale, our friend, saying, I'm going to cry when JT walks up. That is correct. Justin Turner back in LA for the first time in a different uniform. Dodgers have played him 2 years in a row. They played against him in Boston, played against him in Toronto this year. This is the first time he's coming back home to LA, and I pray that people give him the most ridiculous standing ovation that we've ever seen in Dodger Stadium history, because it is very, very well deserved. But get through that thing on the Instagram there. Let's see what's going on here. Craig Osterberg in the chat. BC in the chat. DKM, our friend, in the chat. What is going on? Our other friend, of course, my guy, Richie Flores, checking in from the left field pavilion. His season seats out there, and Hello Kitty night. Appreciate you, Richie, for hanging out with us. Bedan Coes, or Bedan Coes. I'm going to say it differently each time until I figure out which one's the right one. But it says, not my Pookie Freddie, little hurt. And I don't know if I'm peaking a little bit, so I'm going to turn down the volume on my board just a hair. You guys let me know if that's good or bad. I'm not trying to yell at you. I'm excited. It's my first time doing a show on my channel in a week. We haven't been here since, last week. That's kind of how it goes. DKM asking, did I miss you? Of course I've missed you, DKM. Come hang out in the chat. We're here every Monday, every Thursday, mixing in more content along the way. Could be mixing in some extra faces here along the way. But before we get into more stuff, let's talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, because I have to. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all things betting when it comes to football. Of course, you can bet baseball there, but football is where it's at right now. From preseason NFL to college kicking off, BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while games are being played. Hey, do you think you know your stuff? You right there, you person with the face, get in on their winner-take-all $300,000 NFL Survivor pool for the upcoming NFL season. If there's not a game going on, head on over to their online casino. Get in on a game of blackjack. Get in on a game of poker. Unwind with over 150 slot games available at your fingertips. Head to the website today. Get in on that action. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and bet online. The game starts here. The show continues now. I want to know what you guys think about this Los Angeles Dodgers lineup. I see William Andrews in the chat talking about the lineup, the healthiest lineup we have seen in quite some time. You could even argue, over the course of the season, I wouldn't go that crazy with it, but for sure the healthiest we've seen in some time, with the return of Max Muncy, with finally the addition of Tommy Edman joining. You got Ohtani in that leadoff spot. You got Mookie Betts back. Freddie Freeman staying active, playing through a fractured finger. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. I want to talk to you guys for a little bit here. I want to do some overreactions for Monday, bring it to the top of the show a little bit. But one of the things talking about this lineup I really like, so you got Teoscar Hernandez batting cleanup. I probably should have put a picture on there. I guess I technically could, but you guys know what a lineup looks like. Gavin Lux in that 5-hole. If you're not going to have Max Muncy there, where he could slide back up, but right now you're talking about Gavin Lux, who's arguably one of the best hitters in baseball, and that's saying something coming from me. I'm all in on my boy Lux, lifelong Gavin Lux truther, but he's in that 5 spot. And we're like, it doesn't give us a bad taste in our mouth. I really like that we're at that point. Will Smith batting 6 behind him. Max Muncy returns in that 7-hole. Miguel Rojas in that 8-hole, where he will most likely stay as long as the lineup is going left, right. And Tommy Edman, a speedster, playing center field, batting in that 9-hole. Somebody who can act as a second leadoff guy. Of course, Gavin Lux can do that too, but Lux is hitting so well, it would almost feel like it kind of goes against him. It's a pay decrease or whatever, a slap on the wrist if he were to move back into that 9-hole. So Tommy Edman, come over to the new club, come hang out with us, and slot right into that 9-hole. So I really like this lineup. And again, best we've seen, it definitely in a number of months, but you could argue the best we've seen all season long, because James Outman was that opening day center fielder, and he was not very solid. Let's see. Our boy Kevin, producer Kevin's in the chat, says, I'm not in the show because the title isn't Freddie Got Fingered. Listen, I was very close to doing it. I was very close to making a Freddie Got Fingered reference, but you know what? I think everybody's had enough Tom Green in their life. If that's the right guy I'm thinking of. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it was Tom Green. But anyways, I'm going to have a drink. Let's see what else you guys got going on in the chat here. Jeremy asking, just tune in. So Freeman is still in the lineup. That is correct, Jeremy. We're going to talk about Freddie a little bit later. I did want to move. Thank you, Kevin. It is Tom Green. Hey, Diane checking in from Cabo. We appreciate Diane checking in from Cabo. Hopefully you have a nice vacation. Of course, I just came back from vacation. I hope it shows a nice drunken glow from the pontoon in the beautiful Shaver Lake area of Shaver Lake. But Doom Sal checking in. What's going on? Good evening to you, Doom Sal. About to get into Monday Overreactions. I'm moving it up in the show because usually it kind of feels like it's buried to me. I want to make sure this segment, which is for the fans, for you guys, is moved up a little bit more. And I'm going to lead us off a little bit here. Not a little bit. I'm going to lead us off on Monday Overreactions. And I'll ask it. It's more of a question. Have Walker Buehler and Bobby Miller pitched their way off the roster yet? Because it feels like it. Of course, I was away this weekend. I saw Walker start. I saw bits and pieces of Bobby Miller start, and I didn't see anything from both of those guys, especially by the numbers, that I liked. So have those two pitched their way off the roster if everybody's healthy? Have they done that by this point? For Walker, we know errors have kind of played a little bit of a story. Also, bad mechanics played the rest of the story for him, and this is all season long. He said after his most recent start, the quote was, he's had a lot of near misses and a lot of bad pitches in bad spots. Dave Roberts adds, I think you see when you watched Walker Buehler over the weekend, he's still searching. And if we're talking about the middle of August and Walker Buehler is still searching, that's a problem. That's a very, very big problem. He cannot be still searching this late into the season, especially with all the things they've tried with him. They sent him to a different freaking pitching facility. They've tried a bit of everything. It has not landed with Walker Buehler. So at this point, and this is in my opinion, unless Tyler Glasnow's elbow just straight up disintegrates on him, Walker does not have a spot on the postseason roster. Even if Yamamoto does not return, Walker Buehler, I think, does not have a spot on the postseason roster come October. I did get a comment on the Twitter earlier. I hated it because it felt very accurate, but I forget who sent it, so I apologize. I could look it up because it's right there, but I'm not going to do it. But the comment said, Buehler slowly becoming the Dodgers version of Tim Lincecum. And I'm like, oh no, I hate it because I see it. I feel it. I'm worried that we're never going to see a good Walker Buehler again, but it might not happen in Dodger Blue. Let's go talk Bobby Miller real quick. The other part of my overreaction. I don't even know if this is an overreaction. This feels like an astute reaction. Like I'm on point here. Where you should be worried about Walker Buehler, you should be worried about Bobby Miller, and you should not expect either of these guys to play a role in the postseason for this Dodgers team. But Bobby Miller comes back up completely out of necessity. He did not earn it. Dave Roberts said as much, did not quite earn it. But 4 earned runs over 4 2/3 innings pitch, and just plainly not a factor. Did not play a factor for this team in 2024. Not at all what you expected. When you entered the season, when you entered spring training, there was a lot expected. There was a lot on the shoulders of Bobby Miller, who was somebody at certain points in time, especially before the Buehler return and all that, you were looking at him as a number 2 guy, maybe a number 3 guy. You didn't know anything about Yamamoto at that point. You're looking at big game Bob Miller, to be an important piece of the starting rotation. But this is just plainly not his year. I will ask this question to you guys somewhat rhetorically. Does he have the mental fortitude to bounce back from this? It might not happen this year, but give himself a breather in the offseason, bounce back, return, a whole new outlook on life come spring training 2025. Does he have the mental fortitude to bounce back from this? Not just now, but ever. That's the big question. And when I say that, I kind of think Gavin Lux. He was somebody I was worried that could not figure it out just because his brain wouldn't let him figure it out. But it took him a while. It took him 3+ months to really, maybe a little less, because the hot streak really started at the end of June. But it took him time to figure it out. Despite his brain, my mind's playing tricks on me. I was doing that for Luxy, and he was able to figure it out. He was able to bounce back. I don't know that Bobby Miller. I don't know if I've seen that look in Bobby Miller's eyes. I know how pissed Gavin Lux was. This is a kid that wants to do well. He needs to do well for himself, and he eventually figured it out, put some pieces together. I don't know that. I mean, hearing as much as I've heard over the years of covering Bobby Miller from people much smarter than I, people who cover prospects very, very religiously. I've not seen, and I did not hear a lot of a lot that would tell me that he could mental through a tough stretch or a bad, even a bad outing, a bad inning. And we've also seen that at the big league level, where he tries to throw a ball through a brick wall instead of pitching, taking a step back, maybe taking a little bit of something off the ball, trying to hit your spots. Think back to maybe like a Walker Buehler inning where he was able, in the postseason, he's able to escape a big inning. He had one, his first, I know I'm bouncing all over the place with this one now, but bear with me a little bit. As Jenny Vega says, please hit that like button. So that means we're all on the same page if you hit that like button. But Walker Buehler, first start of his postseason career, goes up against them Atlanta Braves, gives up that grand slam to Ronald Acuna, bounces back. I think it was a year later, 2 years later, maybe it was in 20 actually, where it happened. Faced with that same kind of situation, staring down the headlights coming down that are about to run his ass over on the highway in the middle of the night. I don't know, I'm losing it again. But he was able to get through that situation. He was able to big dick Buehler his way through, and he got out of that inning. If it was bases loaded, nobody out, and I don't think Bobby Miller. The point is, I don't think Bobby Miller has that in him. I hope to be wrong. I was eventually proven wrong, even though I was kind of right, but I was eventually proven wrong about Gavin Lux, and I hope we can get the same sort of situation with Bobby Miller down the road, because he could be an important asset for this team, whether it be in the bullpen, whether it be in the starting rotation next year, especially now that there's some rumors, there's some murmurs, there's some whispers. There's some likelihood that Roki Sasaki might not be coming to the U.S. This offseason. Don't know yet. You don't really know. But still, that's where we're at. Bobby Miller gets one more start. He's going to take the spot of Tyler Glasnow, who's down with that elbow. Talked about Glasnow. I don't really want to talk about him on the show. Talked a bunch about that on Dodgers territory earlier. Check it out if you missed it. But that's where we're at. I'm going to overreact, I think, reasonably when it comes to Walker and Bobby Miller. But that's where I'm at. I want to know what folks had to say about just anything Dodgers on this edition of Monday overreactions. That's right. We got the voicemail hotline going here. You guys can call in as well. I usually post on the Dodgers, my All Dodgers YouTube channel, the community page. That's where I post like, hey, I'm looking for calls, looking for voicemails. Pop in there, or on our Discord server. I'll usually post on there, hey, I'm looking for calls tonight. Check it out. So I probably got to start doing it a day ahead of time, but even so, that's where we're at right now. So let's listen to a couple of calls. We got a few voicemails here, and if Richie's there waiting at Dodger Stadium right now, maybe he's waiting for himself. I think Richie wants to hear a little bit from Richie. Let's hear Richie from Devore talk about whatever with these Dodgers.
Oh, hey, Clint, happy Monday to you, and it is a happy Monday because Mondays are always happy. Well, the road trip was 4-3. We'll take it, although there should be some argument that it should have been a little bit more. But, hey, we'll take the 4-3. Kershaw looked great again. I think that's a sight for sore eyes, and I'm pretty sure you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that would be extremely relieved and happy to see his progress, and we desperately need him now more than ever. As far as Bobby Miller and Butane go, it's a lost season for them. I would give up the experiment. Not that I'm ready to give up on Bobby Miller, but I would just shut them down for the rest of the year. They have no command whatsoever. The pitches are like shit in a chicken coop. They're all over the place. And we just can't afford to put them out there with less than 35 games left. And with little brother and the D-backs are breathing down our necks, we just can't afford it. It's just a burden on the bullpen. Everything has to be perfect. We got to get a shitload of runs. The bullpen can't be taxed any more than what it is, and it's just not a good situation. But then again, who else are we going to throw? Then now that Glass now is on that dreaded IL again, and who knows when it comes to the IL reports from the Dodgers, they're about as reliable as North Korean, Russian, and Chinese state-run media. And finally, let's talk about Lotto Ticket Guy. You know Lotto Ticket Guy, right? You go into your 7-Eleven, your Circle K, your AM/PM, you're getting your Soda Freak on, you get your little snacky snacks while your car is at the pump still pumping gas. Don't get me started on that because I think it's kind of a Bush League move to leave your car at the pump while the rest of us are waiting to pump our own gas. But that's another rant for another day. And the guy's sitting there with all his little scratchers, having the clerk check to see the $2 winners, the $3 winners, cash all that money in to buy new scratchers, but only to be sitting there with his finger up his ass because he's agonizing over which one to get. We're all along. All you want to do is just pay for your snacks and get the hell out of Dodge. I just want to wring the guy's neck. Well, anyway, that's it for me. So F the Dodger Stadium parking lot, F the Padres, F any more injuries, F Manny Machado and Profar and everybody else who stands in our way. And finally, F the Ghost Runner. See ya.
Richie from Devore going off. How about them scratchy lottery people? By the way, that totally reminds me. I forgot I got some scratch offs on the way up camping, and I was going to have some fun with the scratch offs at camp, and I completely forgot about them. So those are in the car. Somebody remind me after the show. Somebody DM me, please. Don't forget about your scratchy lotteries in the car because maybe I could become a billionaire or a trillionaire. We became a five-naire right now. We got a super chat, $5 super chat from our friend Mike, Mr. Doom Sal here on the internet. Talking about the offseason trade to acquire Tyler Glasnow here. Says, when the trade happened, I said the Dodgers traded the wrong pitcher to Tampa. They should have traded Bobby Miller and kept Ryan Pepiot. I was a big-time Ryan Pepiot guy. Appreciate the super chat there and the conversation from Doom Sal. I loved Ryan Pepiot, not just because we had a little bit of a back and forth. He's on my old show a time or two. He's a really good dude. He had the future ahead of him for sure. Of course, last year, the oblique kicked his ass. Maybe they should have sent him last year to that chiropractor. But alas, Bobby Miller, if we're looking in hindsight, if we're even looking at that time, like I forced myself to be high on Bobby Miller last year. If you go back and check the tape, 22, I was very much, I think Bobby Miller should be a reliever. Maybe he should eventually still return to a reliever a role or become a reliever. But, spider bites aside, Ryan Pepiot has been pretty damn good for them Tampa Bay Rays. And Andrew Friedman doesn't Doesn't make every correct decision, we'll say. Nando390 in the chat, getting an F the parking lot. That's right. We give a big fat F you to the Dodger Stadium parking lot. Probably crazy tonight for a Monday night Hello Kitty night, but you know how it goes there. What else? I saw another one. Clayton Lockhart is in the chat. Appreciate Clayton saying he just hit that like button. You guys can hit that like button too. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Usually when I don't do a show for a couple of days, we'll drop a couple subscribers. I understand. Maybe people think it's a inactive channel. So get us back up to over 7,200. And while you're at it, let's get to about maybe 8,000 by right now. That'd go a long way. Richie also in the chat saying Bobby needs to shut it down, play winter ball, and work things out there. Listen, I'm not done. I'm not done with Bobby Miller. Just for now, we're kind of done with Bobby Miller. But got a couple more voicemails to get through or get to. So let's check those out. Let's see. We got our friend, I believe this is our friend Noah. Let's hear what Noah has to say on the friend of the show voicemail hotline.
Oh, what's up, guys? It's Noah, as you know. And I gotta say, guys, I am really, really excited. The Dodgers are really, really close to being who they actually are. Because even though we're only 3 games at the time of this recording ahead of the Padres, keep in mind that for the past 2 months, it was without Mookie, without Muncy, and on top of that is a shitload of injuries. So, and next week or the following week, because Freddie may be out for a bit, that's when the real Dodgers are going to show up. And sure, we're in a tight division race, but the Padres, they're going to go in a slump. They're going to fall. And the Diamondbacks, they can't keep this heat streak up. Or should I say hot streak? My bad. Ultimately, let's not worry too much about the division. We got this. Let's just hope that Tommy Edman actually comes through. And let's hope that Muncy goes back to being himself. And KK, Kevin Kiermaier, gotta say, I'm getting a lot of Cody Bellinger vibes. Great defense. Unfortunately, not a good strikeout percentage, but something tells me he's going to come in clutch. Something tells me he's going to catch almost essentially a robbery of a homer that will save a series. Let's just hope we keep him. And guys, I think Lux is legitimately like real. Like if you're not a believer like me, which is still hard to believe, then I don't know what you're waiting for. Come on, boys and girls, let's be believers. Have a good rest of your night, guys.
Be a Gavin Lux believer. Believe like the rest of us believe in Gavin Lux. This isn't a flash in the pan. This is the real deal. And we're talking about 2 months of hot streak for Luxy there. Appreciate Noah calling in as always. You got to be excited. We already talked about it at the top of the show. You got to be excited about getting this lineup back, adding the addition of Tommy Edman, seeing what Max Muncy's actually going to be made of. And as close as the Padres and the Diamondbacks have gotten to the Dodgers, as Noah noted there, the Dodgers have not been playing their best baseball. Those two teams are absolutely playing their best baseball of the season, and it's very hard to maintain those kind of streaks. So Dodgers just got to take care of their own business. They are the masters of their own destiny. All they got to do is just keep winning or don't lose when they win. You control it. You have a lead, and it helps when you get some bodies back, some key bodies back. When you get, Max Muncy, you get Freddie Freeman staying in the lineup. They got Mookie Betts back a couple weeks ago. By the way, we're going to talk about Mookie Betts in a little bit. Spoiler here, will be part of the ups in the 6 up, no down later coming up on the show. But we got one more voicemail, and it's from our friend, producer Kevin, who usually has things going on Mondays, so he cannot join on Mondays, but I probably should have called. Maybe he could. But here's some thoughts from our guy, Kevin. That's at Skinner7, Kevin on the Twitter. Give him a follow, but here we got Kevin.
What's going on? It's producer Kevin. 6 weeks left in the season, but I do a little bit of schedule watch. The Dodgers, by my count, have 6 series left against teams in contention, and that's counting teams that are within striking distance of the division or a wild card spot. The Mariners are who they're playing tonight, are kind of on the borderline. As of right now, they're 4 games back of the division, of the Astros in the division. I believe they're 5.5 games back of a wild card spot. So they're on the fence, so you know they'll be playing hard. And then in those 6 series of contenders, that also includes a 4-game set against the Braves, who no one knows what they're going to look like come September 13th when that series starts. They just lost Austin Riley, and they're currently fighting for the last NL wild card spot. So the division's tight right now, but the schedule kind of lends itself to some series that the Dodgers should more or less easily win. So let's see how they do it. Let's start it off with a good series tonight against the Mariners, and hopefully we get a bad start out of Brian Wu for once in the season. All right, bye.
Producer Kevin leaving his thoughts on the show here. Appreciate that. Of course, he'll be back with me on Thursday here on the live stream. Your All Dodgers podcast live stream. But yeah, the next couple of months, or the next couple of weeks for the Dodgers, you're going to learn a lot. It's the first time this team has to kind of gel with the pieces they have. You're still hoping you get some other pieces back. CT3 not too far away. We're going to talk about him in just a second. Yamamoto, as Dave Roberts might say, is on the come, and I know it's a weird expression, but he's bouncing back. They're going to get Blake Trinan back, so you got a lot of pieces coming back, which again will just keep making this club better against some of these other clubs that are so good. I mean, the Dodgers were supposed to be an insanely, stupidly talented group. It just doesn't help when you lose half your roster to injury, like major injuries. So looking forward to watching the next number of weeks, 6, 7, 8 weeks of Dodger baseball, seeing what this team is made up of, or made out of, against some of the other top talent, top teams, top contenders in the National League. But yeah, let's talk a little bit more here in the chat before we do move on. And I will say, I opened up the voicemail hotline to everybody now, so again, check that out. But if you were an old school, or if you're looking for a different way to keep having a conversation going, join us on Discord. You can get access to Discord, where we have a lot of these conversations as well during the day. It's $5 a month on our Patreon, patreon.com/realfrg. And you can join us in the chat, or you can just support the show. It's a cool way that goes directly back to me to help this thing keep going, to hopefully get more chances for people like Kevin and other folks to do some content on here and all that, so you guys can really help keep the lights on, or keep even more lights on. Patreon.com/realfrg. Again, $5 a month. That's much less than a Dodger dog. That is significantly less than parking at Dodger Stadium this year, which, my God, $35 at the gate. Fucking A. You can also hit that join button, by the way, here on YouTube, and those are all ways you can help support the channel. You can also help supporting by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button. You'll have a good time. Joe Mama wants me to lend him $5. Ooh, pockets are a little dry, my boy. But maybe one of these days. Maybe if we get to, I don't know, we need a number of likes and we can gift some memberships or something like that. Although I don't know if I know how to do that while I'm doing a live stream. But let's say 250 likes and I'll find a way. 250 likes and I will gift Joe Mama a membership here. So you guys better start liking away right now. Bira Sama saying, damn, Frank McCourt is still haunting us. Yeah, again, $35 for parking at the gate, 30 ahead of time. Listen, your boy uses his Chevrolet legs to park in there. And, I wrote that parking guide on that other website before. I know all the secret ways to get in to Dodger Stadium. The best places to park, I'll tell you that much. But anyways, Matty Man 5 Dodge in the chat. What is going on? Matty Man says, trust me, Edman is the best number 9 hitter in the game. And I like that take. I'm not even going to call that a spicy take, but I'm going to give him the clap for that, because that is a good freaking take right there. I would argue to have any team show a better number 9 hitter than Tommy Edman potentially could be. Now, it's worth noting, it's worth remembering, it's worth recalling the fact Tommy Edman hasn't played a major league game this year, so I'll still kind of tread lightly into it. That said, I agree with you. I do agree that you can't find a better number 9 hitter in baseball there. We got some conversation going on about Kershaw in the chat. Ken M said, where are the geniuses that told us Kershaw was done or washed up? It was not me. I said, give me some time to see Kershaw. You wonder, you worry, maybe is Father Time ticking, and then Kershaw goes out and posts a 1.1 ERA in the month of August, looking good. Maybe you want to see a couple more Ks in there against the St. Louis Cardinals, free-ish swinging team, but Kersh gave the team what it needed. Innings, coverage, played a stopper. That's what you want for Clayton Edward Kershaw. 6 innings, 70 pitches. Was it 4 hits, a walk? I think a walk. Love you, Kersh. Keep it going. And all of a sudden, we're going to talk more Kersh again later on. He's a spoiler alert. He's one of the 6 ups in the all ups edition of 3 Up, 3 Down. All of a sudden, you don't feel too bad about him starting a postseason game. At least that's where I'm at. But Bob Student 10 says Kershaw is good. His stuff is no longer swing and miss. It's location and light contact, which is good for regular season, not so great during the playoffs. I can agree with that. I could also not agree with that. It just get me out. Just like, you could say, and I'll say it knowing that Tyler Anderson had a very good start in the 22 NLDS. He's not really a strikeout guy either. He wasn't a strikeout guy. He had a very good year for the Dodgers in 22, but he was more of a pitch to contact, get some early outs, get some pop-ups and all that kind of stuff. Get me outs however the hell you can. If you want the dub, you got to mitigate the slug, as a wise man once said on his old podcast back in the day, and that was me. Shout out to my boy who appreciated that one, Mr. Cody Lou. But yeah, you're not mad at Kersh. Just get me outs. That's all you need to do. All you need to do is get us some outs. But let's move on. We've buried the lead enough. We've talked around Clayton Kershaw. We talked around the new look, good look lineup. Top story for the day. Yeah, Freddie Freeman. He remains in the lineup, but he's got a hairline fracture in his middle finger, and you guys know which one that is. It's on his right hand, his throwing hand. Of course, over the weekend, took a ground ball, little bit of a funny hop, ripped the nail off of his finger, but apparently it's all taped up. He also has a hairline fracture in there in that middle finger, so you got 2 for 1. It's a bonus special there of double injuries. He says he can handle the pain. Dave Roberts says he's not worried about it even slightly. He said that they weren't barely even considering an IL stint for him, which is kind of surprising because, again, the fingernail is ripped off of the finger and there is a fractured bone in the middle finger. So I thought maybe there'd be a little more consideration to an injured list stint, but there's not at the moment. So that's what you got going right now. He remains in that lineup. He's in that lineup with the guys coming back, with Muncy coming back, with Tommy Edman in that lineup. And I said it earlier on Dodgers Territory. My guy, producer Kevin, also said it on his Twitter, and I'll say it again. Give him a follow. He's posting some fire stuff on his Twitter. That is @Skinner7Kevin. I'll make sure I'll put it in the description. Go give him a follow there. X, if you want to call it that. But one of the things I had said, and Kevin also said on Twitter, was you worry about the effects this could have on Freddie's swing. If he's adjusting, the hand, if he has this middle finger thing, it's his lead hand right there. If he feels something a little bit off, I don't know how much his middle finger is the one that drives the bat, but you worry about building bad habits a month and a half before the postseason, because he told us last year he got into bad habits with that swing. He was kind of chasing some power, and it didn't work out for him. He had a very bad postseason, and you worry about that. Again, you worry about bad habits with the swing, so hopefully it doesn't affect anything. If they feel it is, they pull the plug and give him a nice little IL stint there. Did get a question on that Twitter machine earlier from friend of the show, Josh Gitt, who was at the All Dodgers meetup last 2 weekends ago. Appreciate seeing Josh in the flesh there at Dodger Stadium. But the question we'll ask everybody here, as IB Strokin is in the chat, I think you bought a membership or you gifted one, I'm not sure, but either way, thank you, IB Strokin, our friend. Love Strokin. Pause for effect. Josh Gitt said, is Freddie Freeman playing with a broken finger? Is it brave or is it out of his freaking mind? It is a hairline fracture. They believe that it's not going to affect him. That's not going to be aggravated unless he happens to get hit in that finger or take another baseball off of that finger, which hopefully he uses that glove a little more instead of the hands to stop the baseball, or no bad hops coming his way. But I think there's a balance to it, we'll say. Maybe it's out of his mind. I think at this point in the season, he would have missed just 7 games if he were to go on the IL, because they could have retroactive it, push it back a couple of days, and then there's 2 off days, so he would have only missed 7 games on the schedule. But this is the decision. This was the decision that they made, and apparently I'm a little thirsty. And that's what they did, and hopefully it doesn't come to bite them in the ass. We'll say. So Bedan Coase joined here on YouTube. He's a friend of the show here on the YouTube $5 member. Appreciate you, Bedan Coase. That's awesome. Thank you for supporting the channel. I'll say it again. Appreciate the hell out of you. So the Freddie part aside, there was another fractured appendage for the Dodgers. Austin Barnes hits the injured list with a fractured big toe on his, I believe it was his left foot. Took a foul ball in like the 3rd or 4th inning yesterday afternoon in St. Louis. The only good of that, and I'll say one of these people, I'll be one of these people that points out Austin Barnes having a very nice year. We were talking about that earlier in the Discord chat as well. He was having a very nice year, maybe not getting enough love. Was Austin Barnes, not that backup catchers get a whole lot of love, but he was having a nice year. So the only thing I said, I saw somebody say, Bedan Coase, yes, you will be able to, I'll get you on the Discord. YB Strokin's already on the Discord, so we'll get you on there. We're going to have a good time talking about these Dodgers over for the next couple of months. But the only positive to Austin Barnes hitting the IL is it's actually going to open some possibilities, open some options, or some opportunities, there's the words, for Hunter Fiducia. I should hat tip on all of this, by the way, our friend of the show, the other one who's been on the show, Casey Porter of Dodgers Daily. Of course, check him out. Does some great content here on the YouTube. Casey Porter was the first to report the Fiducia is coming up. Barnes' injury was the reason why, but just wanted to throw that out there. Some other people, shout out Dave Vassay, trying to be the one that makes it seem like he was first on it, but no, it was Casey Porter. But Dave Roberts says that Austin Barnes is going to miss the minimum amount of time, but I hope they maximize the amount of opportunities that Hunter Fiducia gets, because as of right now, he's just kind of rotting on the 40-man. You know, he's had 1 at-bat as a big leaguer in the 9th inning of a blowout loss, I think it was. Give him some chances. Give Dooch some chances. And it's not like Will Smith's tearing the cover off the ball himself. Just throw that out there. So hopefully we see something good out of Hunter Fiducia, either to, build a potential case for him to get some roster run next year with this team, or to be somebody that could be traded away in the offseason in a big move, whatever it may be. All that said, let's get to the other big story of the day, and we've already talked a whole bunch about it. That is the return of Max Muncy and the addition of trade deadline acquisition, Tommy Edman. Both of them are active on the active roster, activated off the 60-day IL. If you have a 60-day move, of course, that means you need to open some roster spots. So the Dodgers, unsurprisingly, designate for assignment Nick Ahmed. Thanks for stopping by. They finally got rid of all the Ahmeds. We are Ahmedless. This is an Ahmedless team. Andy Pages was the other guy to be optioned, and unsurprisingly as well, River Ryan placed on the 60-day IL after the Tommy John thing. So that's a tough little thing there. But Dave Roberts, the maybe somewhat surprising. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm not surprised to see Andy Pages finally get the option. It made the most sense. He wasn't not going to get anywhere near as much playing time with with Tommy Edman here. So Dave Roberts did say that Pages could return when rosters expand in September. So I wonder how all of this is going to play out, because Tommy Edman, I don't know why I keep going Nick Ahmed. Tommy Edman's going to be the guy who's in there, should be in there every day in center field. Mookie Betts is going to be in there every day in right field, but we wonder, is that the best kind of scenario? I guess what I'm leading to is a conversation we had in Discord earlier today, where we're talking about kind of, some platoon options and how, as much as I love Gavin Lux, he's not good versus left-handed pitching. He's not at all. So how will, if at all, Pages figure into this? How will Kevin Kiermaier figure into this whole thing? How will Jason Hayward figure into this whole thing by the time this team gets to October? Kike Hernandez, Chris Taylor, we're going to talk about in a second. So we were just playing around with the idea. If you're trying to maximize the position player roster, trying to get your best guys out there, which Dave Roberts told us he was going to do. They're going to put out the best guys in the lineup to win games, optimized to win games. And again, I'll say, as much as I believe in what Gavin Lux is doing, the numbers tell you he's not hitting against left-handed pitching and inherently kind of has struggled versus southpaws, same-handed pitchers in his career. So there is a place, absolutely is a place on this team for Andy Pages, and that is in that is in right field, and that is against left-handed pitching. So you wonder, is there a scenario, is there a world where they would potentially put Andy Pages on the roster for one, which would mean, one of Nick Ahmed. Damn it, why do I keep going Ahmed? Sorry. He's the spice of the day. One of Kevin Kiermaier, one of Jason Hayward, or a CT3 or Kike Hernandez. I mean, one of those guys not on the roster for Pages to get, let's say, a playoff roster spot to be the right fielder versus left-handed pitching, and then Mookie Betts plays second base versus lefties. And I love it. I love this idea. Somebody brought it up in the chat, and I forget who it was. I'm sorry. It's been a very, very long day, coming off of a very, very long weekend. So it was somebody, and whoever it was smart, because I was thinking the same way. But that's how you do it. That's how you could do it versus left-handed pitching if you really want Andy Pages on this roster. And it's worth noting, Andy Pages has hit .337 with an .871 OPS versus lefties this year. Gavin Lux, .158 with a .337 OPS versus lefties. So Gavin Lux, unplayable versus lefties. He's absolutely destroying right-handed pitching. Need to be in there for sure. But if we're looking at optimizing this roster, that could be the best world. If not, it's going to be the best world being, Pages right, Mookie at second. But I just don't think this team, I don't think Dave Roberts has the cojones, we'll say, to put Mookie Betts, kind of in a almost borderline utility role. I don't think he would move him back and forth between roles. I don't know if you guys feel different on it. I still think he can be a very good infielder. I think he's a very, very good, potentially very, very good second baseman. So you have those options there, and you have a dude who's absolutely raking in right field with Andy Pages getting in there. Or again, I mentioned the four guys: Kiermaier. Didn't say Ahmed this time. Kiermaier, Kike Hernandez, CT3, Jason Hayward. Well, one of those outside guys is going to be in there. Whether it's Kiermaier or Hayward, they're going to be on there. It's feeling more like this team is kind of liking Kevin Kiermaier. As Juice Nero says, J-Hay has no place on this roster with Mookie in right field, and now it's all of a sudden becoming kind of a little more painfully apparent that is the case. Pinsanity also says J-Hay is the odd man out. J-Head, words are fun today, guys. CT3. Let's talk about CT3 here. If we're trying to maximize the position player side of the roster, but also Chris Taylor is coming back, who has had himself an up and down season. He was on the up when he went down with the injury. He's also playing very well at AAA in 3 games so far on his rehab assignment. And he said, he made some changes that are proving to really make a change in his swing, in his approach. Once again, Chris Taylor, I know, breaking news, Chris Taylor makes some swing changes, but he does that. Dave Roberts says that he could be back with the team within the week. So there's another roster move there that needs to happen, whether that's a fake injury for J-Hay, a DFA for Kevin Kiermaier, which I don't think it will be. I think Kiermaier has kind of played his way into some sort of role of importance on this team, we'll say. I mean, with that kind of elite defense, knowing this is his swan song in his career, and it's worth noting, he's kind of hitting a little bit over the last 5 games, hitting .333, got a little pop in the bat with a homer and a double. Kiermaier's not a problem at the moment, and as much as Hayward has been great, you can find a way to IL him, keep him around. He can be on the roster or on the team, travel with the team. But I'm not making those decisions. Is the point here? But again, you got all of these guys. Where does Kike Hernandez figure into the roster? Where does Chris Taylor figure into the Dodgers' plans, as he's missed now a month and a half or something like that? So if the Dodgers don't go with my plan, which they won't, from above, with Pages in right field and Mookie Betts playing second base versus left-handed pitching, it could come down to somebody, one of the Chris Taylor types. It could come down to the Kike Hernandez type. I don't like either of those options very much, because it's worth noting Kike Hernandez has not hit left-handed pitching this year. Over the course of the season, 228 with a 621 OPS. Not very good is Kike Hernandez is doing that job they brought him back to do, which is hit versus left-handed pitching. And I wonder why they traded away Ahmed Rosario, who was hitting against left-handed pitching, and also play some infield, but whatever, when in Rome with that. Chris Taylor struggling even worse versus lefties, a thing that he's done very, very well in his career. Crushed lefties, not hitting well versus lefties. 161 with a 526 OPS. So both of them worth noting again. Both of them started the season off frozen, but the Dodgers are going to have to figure this out. They have the month of September. There will be expanded rosters, so they will be able to bring Pages back and kind of figure out, are you going to take the big brain move, we'll call it, because I like it, the big brain move of Mookie Betts at second base, where he can hit anywhere he's going to hit, versus left versus right, wherever you put him on the field, he's going to hit. And Pages, who you could argue is the best hitter on the team versus left-handed pitching, and I don't have all the stats. I'm not bringing my facts to the fight on that one. I'm just looking at the numbers, which I already said. 337 with an 871 OPS versus lefties. That is a very good clip versus left-handed pitching. So if you're trying to optimize the roster, he needs to be in there, in right field or center field if it's Tommy Edman, but he's not really a center fielder. So it's worth noting today, Dave Roberts said that Jason Hayward will start to get some work in center field. I guess trying to help him keep him relevant. He could be somebody who could spell Tommy Edman. If Edman has to play some shortstop, because he kind of becomes the de facto backup shortstop now. If Edman has to play some third base, if something goes awry with Max Muncy or something like that. So you're doing that. You also have Kiermaier around, who over the next few weeks is going to get, or even a few days, is going to get as many looks as possible. But Dave Roberts' words today pretty much told us Kevin Kiermaier is going to be on this team, unless he did that thing where he's not fully truthful, which we know Dave can do. He will be on this team. So who is it going to be? Is it going to be Pages, the odd man out, and then you have a bunch of guys who can't really hit versus lefties, and you're going to go into the postseason where there are some of the most dominant lefties in baseball? Or are you going to do it the smart way, the right way, and be a little creative by not being creative and putting Mookie Betts at second base and Andy Pages in right field? That's what I want to see. I don't know if you guys want to see that. We'll see what the Dodgers do over the next month, but I just wanted to get that out there. That's my kind of a sub-segment, something I really wanted to dive into. I also got to dive into $5 super chat from our guy Richard Flores, checking in from the left field pavilion again. Says the Padres have beat on the OKC Dodgers, of course being these Dodgers that we are watching now, or were watching before, the injured Dodgers. Even after an epic run, they're still looking up our asses in the standings. I don't care who wins, just as long as we do. Appreciate that, Richie. I'm going to hit the gong again for you. Monster asking, so what do you do with Lux? I guess I missed that part. I left that part out. I thought in my brain I made it obvious, but I could understand where we might have missed that. Lux is starting versus right-handed pitching. He's in there every single day versus right-handed pitching, because he's killing right-handed pitching. But lefties, unplayable against lefties. So, again, if you want to maximize the roster, that's where it's at. That's my opinion of where it's at. Paul C. says a lot of guys in the clubhouse love Jay Hay, and I agree, and that's where I don't think they would DFA Jay Hay. I think it would be one of those scenarios where if they have to get creative, Chris Taylor's activated, Jason Hayward is totally hurt, wink, wink. And then eventually when we get to September, the rosters expand. You have one more spot. But still, that one spot, is it going to go to Pages or is it going to go to Jason Hayward? Somewhere, somehow, somebody will have to not be in on the roster, whether that's Hayward, Kiermaier, CT3, or Kike Hernandez. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't get to make those decisions, thankfully. But that's where we're at right now. That's the kind of the latest from the injured list. There's some other little news and notes in there. Brusdar Graterol, again, we already talked about it before last week. Does not seem to be dead after all. He's throwing. He could progress to throwing a bullpen, I think they said later this week. So that's good for Brusdar if he's going to be in the bullpen mix, and if eventually this bullpen is going to get rid of Joe Kelly, which I'm just going to throw that in there because we've kind of been championing that on this channel over the last couple of weeks. Joe Kelly is a problem in this bullpen. Blake Trinan should be back with the club this week. I didn't look at the roster right now, to be honest. I don't know whose spot he would take. Most likely the kid they just brought up, Ben Kasparius, which would make the most sense. But Blake Trinan should be back, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto should should continue throwing to hitters, live BP to hitters this week. And I think they said 2 more live BPs before they explore a rehab assignment. So we could maybe be 4 weeks away from a Yamamoto signing. Maybe that's a little long. Maybe it's even sooner than that. Early to mid-September, which hopefully they give him enough time to ramp up and, in my opinion, start game 1 of the postseason, even though they won't do that. But a lot of that also has to do with where we're at with Blake Trinan. If you guys want to know my Blake Trinan thing, not Blake Trinan, sorry, Tyler Glasnow. Already talked about Glasnow earlier on Dodgers territory. Check that out. There's the playlist on my YouTube channel of all of our Dodgers territory episodes. Francisco says it's definitely not going to be enough time for Yamamoto, and I tend to lean to agree with that. But if he says he's already throwing solid now, like Friday, I think he threw a bullpen live batting practice, in St. Louis. The stuff looked good. The biggest thing is just going to be build up. He just got to do the build up. That's where it's at. So maybe if they're getting him to like 4-60 or 5-75. I think that'll be the target, and then he can kind of build up from there. Doesn't need to be ready to go 8 or 9 innings strong in October. And if you could have him be like just really, really good for 3 innings, you can figure it out. Or 4 innings in October, you can put some pieces together behind him. Maybe Justin Robleski is that guy who's kind of the piggyback guy, or if somehow Walker Buehler figures something out, he won't. If he somehow figures something out, he could be a sort of middleman, swingman, longman, whatever it is, and you can maximize that Yamamoto spot. But we'll talk more about Yama when it gets closer to being a reality that he's coming back. Freddie teased it a whole bunch, the 3 up, 3 down, where it's the oops all up edition. But let's do that. Let's dive into today's 3 up, 3 down segment, which isn't a weekly segment, but I do it here and there when there's a lot of things to talk about in a short amount of time. People like me here on the internet tend to get accused. Well, you get accused one way or the other. Like somebody like me could get accused of being a Dodgers shill that won't say anything bad about the team or won't say anything bad about Dave Roberts. And I love Dave, but I think he can make some poor decisions at times. I think the decisions really aren't his fault more these days, just because of the roster he's been handed that has been broken more so. Not the roster he handed, but the roster he's left with. And guys coming into situations where they're not getting their job done. Like, he's not going to go out and make the pitches that Joe Kelly is not making. So I will be critical of Dave Roberts when I believe he deserves some critique. That's where I'm at with that. Where I was going is you could either be accused of being a corporate shill for the Dodgers or of being just way too negative about everything. I tend to be accused more of the latter, which is why we have a 6-up edition of 3 up, 3 down. There's all good things I wanted to talk about, all little notes that I took earlier today. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I kind of want to just talk about that one because, we haven't talked about it yet. Well, I mean, people are talking about Mookie Betts. He's my first up. He's my leadoff up, even though he's hitting second for this Dodgers team now. Mookie has 5 multi-hit games since returning from the injured list, and I questioned a little bit in his return before, immediately saying, backtracking on it. I questioned maybe they should have given him 1 or 2 games, like on a minor league rehab assignment or something like that, just because he hadn't played in a couple of months. but they threw him right into the fire, no rehab assignment, and he went out and knocked in 3 RBI, had a homer, 2 for 4 game. Mookie's looking really good. I like what Francisco said. Mookie's hitting like he never left. Swelling Sausage is late as fuck, but hello. Thank you, Swelling Sausage. Sorry, that's what the chat said. Francisco also said, I keep it real. I appreciate that, Francisco. I try my best to keep it real, and I hope people appreciate that. That's what I do here on this YouTube machine. But Mookie Betts, keeping it real with the bat, keeping it 100 with 10 being 10 for 28 coming off that IL. Again, 5 multi-hit games, a couple of offers in there, but looking really good and looking right back at home in right field. Again, I'll say it again, I'd still love to see him playing a little second base in there maybe, but it's fun watching him back in right field. So there is up number 1. Up number 2, already talked about my guy, Gavin Lux. I'm going to say it again. Nice roadie for Gavin Lux. Goes 9 for 27, 5 extra base hits, 1.046 OPS in 7 games. Again, Gavin Lux, the real deal. This is the real deal. The kid figured it out. He's feeling good, and he's looking like he belongs there in that 5 hole. It's not a problem to see him batting 5th in this Dodgers lineup. 3rd, perfect time right here. Pinsanity, saying Mickey Rowe also had a good string of games too. Mickey Rowe, that's my 3rd up of the 6 up, no down edition of the all up edition of 3 up, 3 down. Mickey Rowe just keeps on cruising. He's on a 10-game hitting streak since coming off the IL in his own right. Very nice series there, 6 for 10 in St. Louis. Hitting 371 with an 834 OPS since coming off the IL. If this is the guy who's the Dodgers shortstop, come October, come playoffs, where that defense is massively important, you're able to have that plus the bat doing something, that defense plus the bat doing something for this team in the 8 hole, this is going to be something special. It could be something very special. Could be something very fun for this Dodgers club and for all of us who watch this, watch this team day in, day out. So want to throw that out there, give some love to Miggy Rowe, because I haven't talked enough about Miggy Rowe of late, but getting it done. Also hitting in the 5 hole. He talked yesterday about, for the first time in his career, hitting that high, first time in his career, having somebody, pitch around to get to him. I guess that wouldn't be the first time, but learning how to kind of be a 5 hole hitter. And, Teoscar pitched around, Miggy comes up and immediately grounds into a double play. Big inning, big moment for Sonny Gray to get out of that. Miggy learned from it. Miggy's still a veteran, but he's still learning. He's a veteran. He's played this game a long time, still learning. And you don't feel bad about him hitting 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 anywhere in the lineup, because he's just getting the job done. He's getting on base, keep the line moving. So, again, wanted to give some love to Miggy Rowe. Got to give some love to somebody who people were bringing some pitchforks and torches for. Evan Phillips struggled badly in the month of July. Completely different story in the month of August. Dude has figured it out. Perfect in August so far. 8 games, 6 1/3 innings, 1 unearned run, 11 Ks, 4 hits, and a walk. So 5 base runners, 11 strikeouts. Pretty damn good stuff out of Evan Phillips. So he needed some love. And if Michael Kopech, this is one of the conversations we had on Dodgers territory earlier as well, so check that out. But if Michael Kopech is going to be the guy who kind of ascends into the closer's role for this team, to have the weapon of Evan Phillips back to fire off wherever you need him, that's a good problem for this Dodgers team to have. And, again, you hope eventually it means no Joe Kelly on this team, but I'm just going to keep throwing that out there for fun. That's for me. Talking crap about Joe Kelly, that's for me. And hit him with the sad winky face or whatever the hell that thing was, the sad face, the pouty face. Hit him with one of those guys. Clayton Kershaw, the next up, the 5th up of our 6 up edition. It's funny to me, and we've already kind of talked about this, it's funny to me that he went from being sort of an extra piece when he re-signed with this team. It felt like, where is he going to fit in, to becoming such an important, integral part of this starting rotation at this point. Again, after a massive shoulder surgery, first time he's had that kind of injury in his career, to return to very quickly become as good as he is. It's impressive. It's very impressive to see what we're getting out of Clayton Kershaw. And I also said this earlier. He was asked about the injury. How does it feel to kind of not have the injury, the shoulder bugging him anymore? And he had mentioned to Dave Vassay, like, I forgot what it could feel like to not have your shoulder be hurting. So it's nice. It's a good feeling to have a shoulder be completely together again. So appreciate Clayton Kershaw. This is some Kershaw love here. 1.1 ERA, I think it was, again, in the month of August. Kershaw getting it done, and all of a sudden, you don't feel as bad if he's your number 2 starter. Maybe you don't want him to be there, but number 3 guy, number 4 guy in a postseason series, you feel pretty good about that. And the way things are lining up, they need his ass. $1.99 super chat from our friend Swell and Sausage. Thank you very much. Just like, share, subscribe. And that's what he wants you guys to do. Also asking, did I catch fish? No, I did not. I am not so much of a fisher when I go camping. I'm kind of camp daddy, we'll say. I have to do everything for a lot of people. It almost felt like much more so this year than in years past. But I don't want to dive into that because some of my friends watch this show, so I don't want to say too much. But no, I did not catch fish. I only caught good vibes. That's what we did at Shaver Lake. The final up of the 6-up edition of 3 Up, 3 Down. Oops, all up edition. Kiermaier. Kevin Kiermaier, we talked about him a little bit, but I ask aloud to you guys, is the defense making him untouchable on this roster? And he's also kind of finding something with the bat, too. He had mentioned, working with the club, working with the hitting guys, the coaches, and they've made some adjustments, obviously. And he said he's making some adjustments to put himself in a good position. They've been tinkering, is what he said. We've tinkered a lot, but it's starting to come all together. Mario saying Kopech not an up. Look, I only had 6 to work with. He's a co-up. I gave Kopech a whole segment ish on DT earlier, so we'll do that. But is Kiermaier 6 for his last 18, 333 with a 556 slug. He's, again, getting the job done. And I wonder, is he somebody who's stuck on this roster? Not stuck, but does he have like a firm grasp of a spot on this roster? I think he does. I think he might. But guys, we're getting real close to first pitch. A little bit of a disheveled show here. After you go off grid for a few days, your brain kind of forgets how to work a little bit. I was able to turn on the stuff to make the stream happen. I think we did good enough so far. Appreciate you guys hanging out in the chat. You guys rocking the show as always, or whatever people might say. We got one last thing to talk about. That is the Mariners series preview. So let's do that. And the top storyline for me, when the Mariners, with the Mariners coming to town here, it's welcome back, Justin Turner. Give him the love he deserves. I'm very much looking forward to turning this thing off, turning the game on, and getting some love, hearing some love for JT, who should get a hero's welcome here back home in Los Angeles. So that much aside, the bad guy aside, whatever, because he is the bad guy now. He is a Mariner. Dodgers are looking to sweep the Mariners. That's what we're trying to do here. The other storyline for this team as they come back home, it's home cooking. Dodgers, you got to do well. You got to eat. You got to feast while you're at home. You also take advantage of a kind of lull in the schedule, we'll say. 9 games at home on this homestand with 2 off days. So 9 games at 11 days. Dodgers are 38-22 at Dwyer Stadium this year, so maximize that. Keep getting right while them Padres are on your tail. The D-bags are trying to also, as Richie said, be up your asses. So I think it was Richie who said that anyways. It sounds like a Richie thing to do. So the other little storyline here, Teoscar Hernandez plays the Mariners for the first time since leaving them in the offseason. So there's that. But probables, you got... Sorry, I got the burps. Gavin Stone getting another start tonight. He goes and faces Brian Wu, who's one of those guys whose name I don't really know, but you look at numbers, and he's had a very, very good season and a very nice start to his career. So Brian Wu, right-hander, you hope the Dodgers can capitalize with all of the pieces they have welcomed back, which is a lot of pieces. Walker Buehler, this is another one of those starts you really got to watch for Walker. He's been better at home. I think his last start at home, though, was a little rough, but his first start He's good. He's been a little better at home, definitely better at home in his career. Walker Buehler faces a fellow by the name of Bryce Miller, another guy I know nothing. I know very little about. Had a very nice year so far for the Mariners. And then Jack Flaherty goes in the finale on Wednesday against the ace of the Mariners, if you want to call him the ace, Logan Gilbert. So you got a really good series. That's what you hope for. You want to see good pitching. You want to see the best pitching. This is not the best pitching the Dodgers can throw out there, but that's what they have, and that's what the Mariners have. Whatever. Obviously, I'm tired of trying to get through this now. So, final not so hot take on this is sweep them. Sweep them Mariners. Don't give up a homer to JT. Don't let him do any other damage. That's what I want. That's what I want for this team. But game's about to start, so we are going to get the hell out of here, guys. So I'll say this. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you so damn much for the great questions, the interaction here on the show. Thank you for the super chats. If you did drop a super chat, because that is really nice and super cool of you guys, because it says super right in the name, and I appreciate that. Got to thank our channel members, our Patreon supporters, for helping us continue to try to bring you the best content or some good content. I don't know if it's always the best. I've tried my best here sometimes, whatever. Let's just get through it, guys. If you're looking for a different way to support the show, check it out. Patreon.com/RealFRG. $5 a month, less than the price of a Dodger dog. You can help support the show. Also here on YouTube. YouTube members, click the join button somewhere around my head and you can join, and then we could also talk in the Discord server. Got a couple people who joined up, so I appreciate you guys for joining up here on YouTube members. So we'll get you in on Discord and we'll watch this game together as a family. I don't know why I don't even watch Fast and the Furious. So Listen. This is one of them show, guys. This is for y'all or something like that. I don't know. But, yeah, join us there. If not, cool. Shout out to the mods for doing a kick-ass job in the chat, for still making this the best chat on the internet. And I will fight anybody who tries to argue me on that. All Dodgers is presented by Bet Online. Use that promo code BLEAV, believe, and something happens. I don't know. They don't tell me what it is. But Pinsanity says, Clint's brain be cooked, eh? I'm a little cooked. I'm not going to lie. I am a little cooked. But I think we got a good show. We got a decent show in here, guys. I kind of downgraded there. All right, we're done. We're done. I am Real FRG on all the things. Find me on the X. Find me on the Instagram if you want. Hopefully we earned a thumbs up for the effort. Hopefully we earned a subscribe. And we'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye.